Hello, good morning. My name is Terry Samuels from Salterra Digital Services, SEO Spring Training, SEO University, all that good stuff. Okay, so today, I'm going to do two more in this little mini-series about siloing and internal linking. So today we're going to talk about press releases. And a lot of people have seen me speak about press releases and how we do press releases and some of the cool things we do with press releases. And some of you guys are thinking probably, oh, what do you mean talking about press releases and internal linking and siloing? So we always start our press release with a blog post. So we'll do a blog post on the client site, on our site, whatever it is, wherever we're doing the press release. And we'll do a blog post for the press release. And it'll be the same content that we're going to put up into a press release service when we're done. But the biggest reason we started doing this is because we wanted to see if we can have maybe a hub, like call it a cushion page, call it a hub page, whatever you want to call it, for this press release. So we write the press release, we put it on as a blog post, we put it in the press release category. And inside that press release, I'm internally linking to my power pages. I'm internally linking to a good blog post that's maybe got some traction. I'm embedding videos, I'm embedding map, I'm embedding all the stuff like you would normally do to a press release in a third-party service. But I do it on our website as a blog post because I want that link. So after I get done with this blog post, I've internally linked everything properly, and I hit go live or whatever, submit, and so now the page is live and I have a URL. So that URL is my primary URL for my press release that I'm getting ready to do with this service, whether it be 38 Digital with Randy's, which a little shout out to Randy's, the best out there, AB Newswire, EIN Newswire. I use a whole bunch of different press release services depending on the strategy. So now I take this blog post and I put this same content, this press release content, which is written from a third party and third party view and all that stuff is supposed to be, and I load it up into a third party service. And inside this third party service, now I'm going to interlink some stuff. I'm going to do some, probably, I think, depending on the service, 2 to 3 backlinks. So one of the backlinks is going to be to that blog post. So, and it's always a branded backlink, so a branded anchor. So I'll put Salterra Digital Services, and I'll put that Salterra Digital Service anchor text, and I'll point it to that blog post on my site, the client site, wherever that blog post initiated at. So, for instance, when you go in and you start these third-party systems, you're talking about 4, maybe 500 referring domains. So here's where it gets a little tricky. So that many referring domains on a brand new website, that can be a little tricky. So you got to do things a little bit different. So you're going to get the same amount of referring domains as a raw anchor, because most press releases have a raw anchor going to your home page. And then if you don't get enough that way, you can also do another branded anchor to your home page. So the thing I'm saying is you don't want to go out in this third-party press release and do all these anchors inside that press release pointing to all inside pages on your website. You're going to probably be over-optimizing your anchor text because you had so many referring domains going to a brand new system to where you didn't have any baseline foundational links to start with. So, but if it's an established website and it's been in business for a long time, you don't have to worry about that type of stuff. So anyways, one of the backlinks from that third-party press release is pointing to that blog post. One of the links I always use inside of a press release is a contextual link going to the GBP, and it's typically around the topic of that press release. So let's say, for instance, that Mary's Med Spa is celebrating 10 years of providing cool sculpting to the Dallas area. So, and she's got a GBP in the Dallas area. We would link that cool sculpting anchor to the GBP, typically the long URL. There's a number of reasons I like the long URL, and maybe I'll talk about that someday. So, and then we always make sure that we have something going to the home page. So if this service has a natural raw anchor going to the home page, that's great. So, and then you also want to make sure that you're embedding your video or your map or whatever you're doing on that third-party press release. So the cool thing about this press release now is, let's say, for instance, you're doing a stack, which I'll do a couple video things about stacking press releases. Let's say you're doing a stack and now you're starting to really bring in some power into this, and you're starting to see movement on your power page. Your press release blog post is probably even starting to gain some traction. Now you have the flexibility to go into that blog post and change or modify those anchor texts that are going to your power pages. Once a third-party press release is live, you can't change it, but you can change it on the blog post that you put as the initial, what I call the host of that press release. So 6 months later, a year later, I can still go in and manipulate those internal anchors going to my power pages. Maybe I did a blog post 2 or 3 months later, and this blog post is catching some traction and I want to get some more juice to it. I'll go in and either add some content or even change an anchor text to get some more juice on that press release that was loaded 6 months ago as a blog post. So anyways, there's some really cool things you can do with press releases, but that's press releases inside the internal anchor siloing type of series that we've been doing. So anyways, have a great day, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.